My name is Abi Stevens. I'm a digital illustrator. I create colourful and detailed illustrations inspired by mythology, fantasy, history and folklore. My work is influenced by visual history, by which I mean historical art forms, architecture and objects. I'm particularly interested in stained glass windows and illuminated manuscripts. So here you can see some examples of my work with some illuminated manuscripts, stained glass window elements included, along with some of the photos that I've taken in churches and museums to use as reference. So I've incorporated details of borders and background information into my own illustrations. And here we have some of my travel work. Again, I take photos as I travel, and I use elements of architecture, objects, and animals that I've seen on my trips and create these composite illustrations. We've got one from Tallinn, Estonia, which is reminiscent of the shapes of the wooden coats of arms in their churches, and one from Kyoto, Japan. Here you can see how I've used a sketchbook drawing from an illuminated manuscript detail and expanded that into a more elaborate pattern design. And then I further incorporated those ideas into my style to create more elaborate patterns incorporating mythological creatures and real animals. This one is ocean inspired. And here we've got some medieval bestiaries. Again, I really like the simplified style of the scales and feathers in these. I've tried to incorporate some of those elements and the simplified outlines into my own creature designs. I've even drawn my own series of bestiary illustrations. That's one of them at the bottom, a little excerpt of it. This is one of my most recent pattern illustrations. This one incorporates flying mythological creatures with real creatures capable of flight. This one is designed to match the orange one from earlier, and hopefully I'm going to have an exhibition of these at some point, but they do take quite a long time to do, so it might be a while. Here's some more mythological illustrations. These ones were inspired by East Anglian folklore. So the yellow one is called the Toadman's Ritual. This states that if you leave a dead toad out to be eaten by ants, then carry the bones around in your pocket till the next full moon, and throw the bones into a stream, the one remaining bone will grant you the power to control horses with your mind, which I'm sure we've all dreamed of. Here we have Black Shuck, which is a portent of doom. Says if you see one, you're probably going to die within a year. And Old Blunderhazard, which is a headless horse-drawn carriage that travels from Barsham to Norwich every Christmas Eve. And I could not for the life of me find a reason, but I find it more entertaining because of that. I really enjoy researching obscure details and symbology for my work. So in this cover, I've used the language of flowers. The roses and the pomegranates symbolise temptation and desire. The lilies, death. And there's monkshood, the purple flower, which means beware, a foe is near. These are all reflecting the themes within the book itself. I really enjoy working with book covers because of the challenge of representing the concept of whole book within a single image. And I like hiding details in there. In the Joan of Arc illustration, I've used the shape of the banner and the sun to imply both halo and horns on Joan because of the contentious nature of her image during her lifetime. More recently, my work has taken a more personal turn. Beginning of last year, I was diagnosed with chronic migraines. I've always had them intermittently, but over the last year, they completely overturned my life. They had a profound impact on both my physical and mental health. For quite a long time, I was struggling to create anything. And so I decided that I would try to create work inspired by my own personal experience, something which I realised I'd never actually done before then. Whereas my fantastical work brings fiction to life, I like to think that this series is bringing an invisible reality into a visual representation, allowing people to see what's hidden beneath the surface of invisible illnesses. So I began creating illustrations representing myself suffering from migraine pain, using some of the stained glass window elements of my style to represent the invisible aspects of the disease. I shared these on Instagram and found myself connecting with other people with chronic illnesses who found something of their own experiences reflected in my work. And I realised that it could, rather than just being an exercise in catharsis for myself, it could actually represent an opportunity for people with chronic illnesses to feel seen and heard. I want to use my work as a platform to educate people about the symptoms of migraine and dismiss the rumour that it's just a headache, which is really quite damaging to people who suffer from them. So I began making illustrations for other symptoms such as sound sensitivity, photosensitivity and brain fog. This one is sound sensitivity, which is a symptom I suffer with quite regularly. I have to carry earplugs around at work. I work in a school, so it can get a bit noisy. And I also wear sunglasses quite regularly for photosensitivity. Several of the illustrations in the series deal with the mental impact of chronic illness. So this one represents the idea that chronic illness feels like it's swallowing up your life, as if because it's placing a huge limit on the things that you're able to do within a day, just cutting down the hours that you're actually living your life. And then this one is a deliberate inversion of that. The keyhole border has been turned right side up. The blue hands represent family and friends and the importance of support from the people that are around you in fighting back against the mental impact of chronic illness, to remind you that you're not a failure, you're not letting people down. It's something that you can't physically control. This illustration represents transient aphasia, which is the symptom that caused Serene Branson to suddenly start spouting gibberish on her live news reports. Some of you might have heard about that. I'd like to keep creating work for the chronic series this year and expand into other chronic illnesses and mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, PTSD and ADHD. I'm also planning to have an exhibition, hopefully in London, in order to raise awareness and also to raise money for the London Migraine Clinic, who have been helping me and many other migraine sufferers with their condition. But they're struggling for funding to hire a new doctor at the moment. This series